Now, I think, very quickly, without wasting any time, I want to welcome, and it's an extreme honor to invite our third mentor and speaker, who is Mr. Shankar CK. Mr. Shankar is joining us from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. He is the lecturer in the Department of EEE in the College Sri Ramakrishna Polytechnic. Sir, we are immensely honored to have you today with us, sir. With a little bit of apologies for delaying your session, we welcome you, and please start your session and enlighten us.
Yes, okay, I'll continue. I think the panelist and Mr. Astos has taken a tremendous effort in explaining the background and details of the NEP. I'll just move to the part. My presentation is going to be on how to bridge the gap. Like how are we going to solve the problems that are going to arise from this document. If you want to talk about NEP, we can talk for us. And I've been organizing sessions on Clubhouse for past 2.5 months, and still I have not crossed the higher education part of the NEP. For a detailed discussion, it takes around, for a single point, it takes around 1.5 hours. So the background is this National Education Policy 2020 has been released or framed after 30 years, nearly after 3 decades. So few points have become a point of debate, but yes, but these points are the major game changers of NEP. And yes, coming to the NEP, this policy is a comprehensive framework for elementary to higher education as well as vocational training. And regarding vocational training, the government plans to introduce vocational training right from the schooling itself, so that the students who are planning to master a particular art will be able to start right from the early stage. So not only for this provides a framework, but also this NEP aims to implement and contribute equality and provide vibrant knowledge among the society by providing right and quality education to all the people in our country. And the NEP plans to improve the gross enrollment ratio as well as the gross graduation ratio, thereby reducing the number of dropouts at school and graduate level. Now the gap. Mr. Astos has detailed about the gaps. I'll say how we are going to fill the gap. By filling the gap in the sense, first one being a fragmented system. A fragmented system in the sense, right at schooling and college level, there has been facility for students to pursue courses that are designed by some board or the institute or some accreditation body. But NEP proposes this to and allows students to pick subjects of his choice and pursue that subject to specialize in a particular area. That is, it creates an academic bank of credit wherein the students can earn credits and accumulate it there. He can take a break whenever and wherever needed. And if he wants to in the present system, if you want to take a break, what will happen is you have to leave your schooling or you have to leave your college. You have to get back. You have to start up from the origin if you come back again. But the NEP proposes to start up where you have left off. That is a major game-changing thing done by this policy. And I think the governments and educational institutions and as educators, we must work upon these aspects on working on aspects on how we should bridge the gap. Okay. And accreditation has been a major thing in our education system. NEP proposes to standardize accreditation by a single body for all kinds of institutions, even arts and engineering and medical, under a single accreditation body. Moreover, NEP plans to remove accreditation by 2045. So after 2035, once the government has set up or allowed us to set up multidisciplinary universities in our locality, then it will be easy for us to improve the curriculum aspects as well as the standards by ourselves. And the next aspect is lack of facility for learning in mother tongue. Yes, this has been a major hurdle because we have chosen English as a medium of instruction in most of the cities in our country, in schools as well as colleges. But if you're allowed to learn in your mother tongue, the basics, if you're allowed to learn the basics in your mother tongues, it will improve your cognitive level of learning. So NEP has proposed, or it has, what I feel is NEP, it is not proposing, it is mandating to learn the basics, that is your schooling in your mother tongue, as well as to also propose to develop the subject materials in a regional languages too. So that is a major game changing thing. And there is a huge gap of difference between the government run institutions and the private run institutions. The private run institutions do charge a substantial amount of fee as they maintain standard, but NEP plans to disrupt it and bring equality and the same standard of education in the private sector and as well as the government sector at the same fee level. So they are planning to bring up a fixed fee structure for schools, colleges, and universities also. And the next aspect of education is they are planning to introduce a single entrance examination, like they have it in other countries. We have separate entrance examination for each course and for each university. But NEP proposes to bring a single common entrance examination wherein the cognitive level of the students would be uh, studied, and later on, based on his score, he'll be allowed to choose his university or the course that he wants to pursue in higher education. And NEP allows or introduces upcoming or advanced courses in the upcoming areas in the field of science. Especially we have courses right now like data science and AI, data science and machine learning, cyber security and machine learning at undergraduate level. Previously it was under post graduation level. From the past 3 years, we have the thrust areas in the undergraduate level. As a polytechnic college, as I'm from a polytechnic college, we are planning to introduce a course on ML and data science from the next year. So even from the vocational level, the participants, the students will be able to learn this area of interest. That is what NEP is all about. I think it is time. I've cut short my presentation. I do know that, but we have to start the discussion by 5, and we can talk on it. We can talk upon it. Please join the clubhouse sessions that I've been hosting for quite some time when you're free, and we can take a particular point and we can discuss about the particular point in a whole level. Thank you. I'll take up the questions now because the previous panelists have shared a lot in detail about NEP, what is NEP about, and what are the gaps that would be there, and how are we going to bridge it. If you have any questions on how to bridge those gaps, please do ask the questions. I'll answer it for you. Regarding the structure and duration of the undergraduate and postgraduate courses, for masters, it is going to be 5 years, even at engineering level. Then for the qualification for pursuing research is going to be masters. So we have to complete a period of 5 years. That is your UG plus your PG. Your UG covers 4 years. Then a PG of single year. So it will be a 5 years course to pursue, to qualify for research, for doing research.
Okay, so that was a question of Ghazala Siddiqui, if I'm correct, sir. So, okay, so there is one more question from Dr. Unika, and she's asking if there is no accreditation who will take care of the quality assurance?
Yeah, ma'am, actually, that's nice. That's a nice question. Actually, the quality will be assured by institutes, multidisciplinary institutes that will be set up by the government in the state. So there is no need of a self-financed separate body to say this is what the standard is all about. The standard may vary from area to area. The standard may vary from field of science to field of science. So it will be different for an an arts course, and it will be different for a technology course, and it will be different for a management course. These will be a framework would be released by the government, or it is then it is the need of the hour that educators must work upon developing a framework for standardizing how a course or how the quality should be maintained. So I think there will be need of no accreditation bodies later on down the line in 15 years.
So I think we have enough time just to take another question, sir. We have this question from Joseph Das. Now he is asking, getting city schools under one umbrella, what plans for 100% students across of all the villages too? So
there is no statement in NEP like that. We have been discussing in the past week regarding this aspect in Clubhouse. There is no particular statement in national education policy stating that the schools in urban areas will be kept under a separate umbrella, and school in rural areas will be brought under a different aspect. The main aspect of NEP is that it is not about separation between rural and urban. It is all about creating centers of excellence at particular places. Like if you take a particular district in Tamil Nadu that is called Tanjavur, pottery is being done at a vast scale at Tanjavur. So for learning pottery as a student, I must go there, and pottery will be taught especially there in that locality. So if you come to urban locality, they'll be specializing in a particular vocational aspect in school level. And at rural areas, they'll be specializing in a particular aspect. There will be knowledge sharing, and they'll be, strengthening the particular vocational coaching syllabus at that particular school itself. So that school will be the center of excellence for that vocational training that is being planned or provided by the government. For example, pottery, a rural area school will be strong in the pottery aspect.
Perfect. So as you can see, sir, we are getting a lot of questions. So everybody is getting really hyped up here. So quickly, I'm going to take a question from Dr. Anju. So she is asking, students getting the liberty to leave the course at any time, is it really helpful?
Yes, it's not about at administrative level, it will be tough for institutes really. I do know that working with administration, I can understand what you're asking. But looking at a student point of view, you cannot pressurize a candidate to pursue something that is not interested in. There has been cases in my institute and where I have studied, due to family problems, my friends and my students had to leave the course. But when they are coming back again to take up the same course, they have to start from the beginning. That is what NEP is trying to remove. You can start off where you have left. Don't worry about the dropouts because of this statement. There won't be dropouts because your college or your school or your institute is going to be excelling in the particular course or program that is being offered. So the thing about dropouts should not be an issue.
So we hope everybody has got their answers, got their questions answered. So Mr. Amit Kumar Sharma is also saying education budget is not satisfactory in India. Would you like to comment on that, sir?
Sir, we cannot blame everything on the government, and we cannot put everything on the government. We have to work as an educator, as an institute, as a public. It is our responsibility to take up certain things to our hand and to work upon. So yes, we do allocate only 6%, and that is 0.7% of the GDP. I can understand that, but what is our contribution to the society? That matters, right, sir? So let's leave the government out of this aspect, sir.
Perfect, perfect. So thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. And again, I want to apologize from my side for making you wait today. Um, but I
That's
think
not an issue, Samira. That's not an issue.
perfect. But I think you must also be satisfied by now, because I think you have delivered your full potential perfectly the session today.
No, I have planned it in a different way, but the
Okay.
previous panelist has delivered a lot of my content. So I think I
Okay.
have
So
to answer only the questions. That's what I can do as of.
perfect, perfect. So we will be seeing you in future events as well, hopefully.
Yeah, sure, Samira. Sure. Thank you.